Bahamas Tonight, it's your chance to get a piece of the rock. The details of the investment some financial observers are calling a sure thing. Police look for clues in an overnight murder and meet the Band of Independence. All those stories and more coming up in the Bahamas Tonight.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Kishla Adelaide. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the government is hoping to get at least 10,000 new Bahamians involved in the capital market through what's being called an historic public offering of shares in the Arawak Port Development Company. Yesterday, Prime Minister Ingram announced that government employees will be able to buy the shares, a maximum of 50, through salary advances. Clint Watson takes a look at what's being described as a major opportunity to transfer wealth into the hands of ordinary Bahamians.
Financial advisors described the recent announcement by Prime Minister Hubert Ingram to help government employees purchase shares in the Arawak Port Company as revolutionary. In fact, CFAL's Anthony Ferguson and Providence advisors Kenwood Kerr agreed that the concept of using the bottoms-up approach in the $10 per share purchase is being touted as a good move to spread the wealth to a wider sector of the population.
If there's 1,000 persons at 50, they get their 50. If there's the next 50, 1,000, the next, and it keeps going up. So, for instance, someone who has subscribed to 100,000, and some people have, they will not be in a position to dominate the offering because all of the smaller subscribers will be filled in the first instance.
Because it allows the widest cross-section of Bahamians to participate first, and that the investor who is coming in with $1 million, and there are a few, are not going to be given a priority over the guy who comes in or the person who invests for 50 shares.
Advisors say from all indications this investment is safe with a promised lucrative future. Managing Director of APD Mike Mora says the operation not only will cause port security in the country to be intensified, but would also provide greater efficiency and convenience to the sector, not to mention the new jobs. The new facility, which is a private-public partnership, will also provide opportunities for enhanced revenue collection as leakages and fraud will be minimal with heightened security and amalgamated services. This means the public treasury benefits, and so will shareholders.
For years and years and years, the operations of freight have been in the hands of the private sector. And here we have a situation where not only is it being offered to the public, which is just an amazing and awesome opportunity, but at the same time the government benefits by way of landing fees now. Those landing fees that used to go to the private sector are now coming to, or a portion of them are coming to the Bahamas government, which is fantastic. There's real property tax. The government's also a shareholder in the port, which means there's income coming by way of its direct investment in the company. So, our country benefits as a result of this.
Prime Minister Hubert Ingram says eventually the government will divest itself of shares in the port.
But eventually the government of the Bahamas will own no shares in the port. And so the government will have directors or the rest of it. I expect that in the coming years that we will transfer to national insurance, as an example, 5-10% of our shares to hold on behalf of all the contributors to national insurance in the country. And I expect that the other shareholders in APD may wish to dispose of some of their shares. Now, you will never get this deal again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Whenever shares are sold again, they will be sold at market value, which will be considerably more than this $10 a share today.
Clint Watson, ZNS News.
Pro Construction Company has been awarded a contract worth over $500,000 to carry out repairs on the Customs Warehouse building. The building has fallen into a serious state of disrepair over the years, and Works Minister Nico Grant says the repairs are necessary to better meet the needs of the Customs Department.
10 contractors were invited to bid for the proposed reconfiguration and general repairs to the warehouse, and bids were opened at the Tenders Board, the Ministry of Finance, last year. 9 contractors responded, 3 of which fell within an acceptable range of my ministry's in-house estimate. The technical evaluation determined that Pro Construction submitted the best competitive bid, and subsequently they were approved for the award of a contract in the amount of $557,942 to reconfigure and make general repairs to the building.
Now, work is expected to begin in a matter of weeks with a 6-month completion time. Ministry of Works Chief Architect Livingston Forbes gives details of the works.
So it would require a lot of internal repairs consisting of walls, floors, and ceilings and restrooms, installation of new plumbing and electrical and air conditioning materials, external works, etc., to the overall facility. So it's an extensive bit of repairs because the building is in very, very poor condition.
In other news tonight, hundreds of students at C.H. Reeves Junior High School are expected to benefit soon from an additional classroom block. Earlier today, the government signed a $300,000 contract to complete that work at the school. Our Fern Carey has more.
$345,932 is the value of the contract awarded to Bruce Ramming Construction to complete the 8th classroom block at C.H. Reeves Junior High School. The company beat out 6 other contractors for the project. It's part of a proposed master plan for the reconfiguration of the school, according to Works Minister Nico Grant.
The master plan is completed, and some proposed building demolition works and additional building construction have been tendered, and the bid submissions are presently being evaluated. These works include construction of a new 8-classroom building that will include a library, restrooms, and an administration office, and the demolition of some of the existing classrooms.
Back in June of 2006, 2 construction companies were awarded contracts to build the classrooms. While one of them performed satisfactorily, Minister Grant claimed the other company made numerous errors and abandoned the project before completion. However, contractor Bruce Ramming says his company will now fix the problems.
Some of the errors are basic things like for instance, the floor level. We had some problem with, which we're correcting, and also we had some deficiency in some of the choices, okay, and they are being corrected, which take us a period of about 2 to 3 weeks to correct. But after that, everything is on schedule.
Some 24 people, including subcontractors, have been hired to complete the work. Meantime, Education Minister Desmond Bannister noted the additional classrooms will benefit students.
The great injustice was done to those children in 2006. The planning by his ministry since 2007 has now enabled us to take the steps that is going to make a considerable difference in that campus, make facilities available to those children that has not been available, and make the school environment one that teachers and students will be happy to go to each day.
Now, work on this classroom block started about 4 weeks ago, and the contractor says it's expected to be completed by about April 1st of this year. Fern Carey, ZNS News.
Close to 150,000 residents have registered to vote, and today parliamentary registration officials began the voters' card distribution process. Hundreds gathered at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium this morning to pick up their cards, the first step in a democratic process that Bahamians have traditionally looked forward to participating in. Carla Palmer has more.
The doors to the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium opened as promised at 10 a.m. this Monday, and residents were in and out with no problems at all.
Absolutely no complications.
So any changes for you in terms of boundaries?
Yes, there have been changes. I originally was in Blue Hills, it's now Tall Pines, and I'm excited about the prospect of the changes.
I came because I want to get out of the rush. I don't want to be among the crowd when they're rushing and pushing in.
Yeah, I made it a point to come and get it out of the way, you know, because when you look at what's happening now, you need to beat the rush, and I think it's incumbent upon everybody who's registered to now come and pick up the voters' card so that they'll be ready to move forward whenever the elections is called.
I didn't waste no time because this document is very important to me.
This card is like $1 million to me right now. I am so concerned about this Bahamas as a Bahamian until I am ready to vote today.
I have talent.
Residents commended the Parliamentary Registration Department for its performance, and both Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Charles Aubrey and Sherilyn Hall, say it was a team effort.
We've had no issues that we couldn't resolve. We were asking persons to come in and collect their cards, and when they get them, to compare them with persons in the same household, to make sure that they're all in the same constituency and polling division. And if there is a difference, to bring it back to us so that we can correct it.
Well, we normally ask them to present their receipt as proof that they did register. And thereafter, if you don't have your receipt, you can still come, because we have the counterfoil and voters card. We can identify you based on a photograph attached there too.
Some 148,000 Bahamians have already registered, with the majority, 99,000, living right here in New Providence. All of them we spoke with as they collected their voters cards say they are ready to mark their X.
3 parties out there, but I still think the big one is going to be on top, which is the red one.
Why you think that?
Well,
why are you so confident?
We've done a lot for the Bahamas so far. We did a whole lot for the Bahamas so far, and you can see it. You don't have to think about it. You can ride on the roads and see it.
I'm going with party of choice.
Well, issue is always important in any elections. The issue that faces the nation must be addressed by all candidates, and the persons who present the best plan of action will be the persons I'm looking forward to.
I'm strictly supporting Mr. Hubert Ingram.
Police were visible to keep law and order, and the atmosphere is expected to remain that way over the next 2 weeks as the process is limited to that time. Carla Palmer, ZNS News.
Well, the election offerings continue to come in. The latest coalition goes by the name the Band of Independents. Right now, former PLP member, Paul Moss, former Independent South Andros MP Whitney Bastian, and former Police Association Chairman Glenn Roll make up the group. The three held a press conference yesterday seeking to convince voters that independent is the way to go this election. They referenced the history of independence over tens of decades and straight through to 2002 to highlight the power of independence. It's a point that 20-year Carmichael resident Glenn Roll wants prospective constituents in Carmichael to think about.
Well, Labour, except they were an independent candidate who together helped to form the government of the Bahamas then in '67, and who together determined what was then the new Bahamas. And so we're at that place again, doing this for our children's children and ensuring a rich legacy is left in place for them.
Now, Paul Moss wants to represent the people of Garden Hills, and Bastian is expected to contest the South Andros seat again. They say the two-party system may fulfill the status quo, but it isn't the most advantageous for voters.
The fact is, they don't care about us, they care about their parties. And we say you have to send a strong message to them at the next opportunity, when the general elections are called, to vote independence and vote against the parties.
I really don't think that they're worthy. I'm not here to judge, but they say by the Bible, say by the fruits you shall know them. I'm not here to judge those persons who are now offering themselves, but they have no interest in our communities.